good? Coach, when you're ready for
your proud of our guys for, playing to the end. It hasn't been the season that we wanted, but, I was happy that, they came and, they played with maximum effort. And, we took a good Clemson team down to the wire. We did some good things offensively. Thought we did some really good things defensively as well. So, again, just happy for the fellas. Again, it hasn't been the year that we had hoped for, but to come in here, we could have easily just rolled over, and they didn't do that.
Okay, questions, Kelly?
I guess kind of what is the approach now with the season over? This is kind of the way it happened anticlimactically without the ACC tournament.
Right.
Like how do you approach this?
It's day by day. Right now, you're just trying to figure out the day. I've been reflecting for a long time, because, as a coach, you just always look at each moment, each practice, each game, whatever that looks like to you, and you just, you reflect on that, right? And so, next couple of days, obviously, you reflect, you got some things that, this time of year, they just like the usual stuff that happens, and, you just figure it out from there. But to be honest with you, this is unfamiliar territory for me just in general, so I don't really, as crazy as it sounds, I remember when I lost my last game as a senior in the NCAA tournament and I was a lottery pick. I sat there and I didn't really know what was next. I didn't have no agent. I didn't have none of that, so I didn't really know. You know what I mean? So it's over. So processing, and then again, just trying to figure out what's next.
Coach, there seemed to be sort of an intensity shift by the Tigers in that second half. How do you think your guys stuck with that?
Well, I thought we gave them momentum. We turned the ball over, and then we missed a couple shots at the rim, and then they got out and they made a couple shots. The crowd got into it, and I think it ignited them, But, to our guys' credit, they came back and made runs, and they hung in there. Tonight the difference between, a lot of our season and tonight was that we were able to get a bucket when we needed, and we were able to get a stop when we needed to stay in the game.
You talked about kind of unfamiliar territory. What did you learn from your guys and yourself this season?
First from me, I think it's a two-part question. I think, I would say, what you learn from the guys is, and I've told them this, and I'm an honest guy. Each guy has to learn what not to do moving forward. Because you don't want to be in this position, right? So it gets cliche-ish to say what are the positives. No, we got to learn what not to do moving forward because you don't want to be in this situation. So that was my message to them individually in terms of, getting better individually, but also understanding, what it takes to be successful within a team. I've always had a motto since I've gotten to coaching, and I took this motto as a freshman when I was in college. I think the first thing you have to do when you go to a team, especially in the NIL era, is you have to you got to figure out how you're gonna get on the court, right? You got to figure out the strength and the weaknesses of your teammates, because if you're going to be playing with guys, you got to actually know what they're good at. So, if you're a point guard, for instance, you don't put them in harm's way by passing it to them in crowds that they can't catch in the crowd. And then the last thing, that's the selfish part of it. How do I get my game into this system? And so these are the things that I've told my guys, and these are the things that they need to do, as they move forward. Now it's my job to find guys that fit into the system. You have to find guys where the things that I deem weren't successful for us, you have to get people and put them in those spots. And so that's my job. But, there's a reflective process, and there has to be an honesty process, I think, on both sides. And for me, the one thing that I take pride in, and I've been like this as a player, so it doesn't really bother me, man. I don't run from nothing. So, you there's good and bad in this, and it's always been that way. And so I understand that. It comes with the territory. I've been scrutinized since I was dang near 9 years old, so I'm all right with it. And so, those are the things that I'll be reflecting on personally as we move forward.
Kelly, final question.
Sure. Have you talked to Ryan Albert, and do you feel confident he'll be the head coach next year at Georgia Tech?
I've talked to him. Yeah, I've talked to him. That's on the whole, and I understand that again. I mean, there's nothing in me that doesn't want to be the head coach of this team next year and this program. I think that we've had 2 years where we've had trajectory in the program. I do understand the business that we in. It's a left-hand column and a right-hand column that we all are accountable for. So that didn't meet the standard this year, understandably. So I'm looking forward to hopefully getting a chance to remake this and see what happens there.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Thanks.
All right.